What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas 9, Augusto Sakai versus Alistar Overeem. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another breakdown and prediction video. This time we are breaking down a pretty solid card in UFC Vegas 9. We have a great main event, Sakai versus Overeem. We have a great co-main event, OSP versus Menifield, and some good fights scattered throughout the whole card. I mean, we have the people's main event, Zalim Imadaev versus Michele Pereira. I cannot wait to break that down for you guys. But first, going to do a quick recap of last week, and it was a great week. It was probably one of my best weeks from a content standpoint. It seemed like everything was pretty much on point. It was probably the first week in a long time where I didn't get one hate comment. Not one person came and commented on my video. Usually if I get even one fight wrong, somebody will comment something. But none of that this week. So, I mean, it was a fantastic week. As for the betting goes, it was an awesome night. Like, had Brady inside the distance at plus 150, fantastic line, had 1.5 units on that. Had one of my biggest plays of the year, had a Lamas and Brady parlay minus 150, 2.5 units on that. Got kind of a sweat going, but Lamas was able to get it done there. And then the one loss on the night was Chirico by decision. I love the line I got at plus 190. It was pretty much a 50-50 fight and a 50% chance that he was going to either win by decision or lose by decision. I thought he was going to get it, but Cummings was able to get that head kick with like 1 second left. But overall, it was a fantastic night. I mean, almost 3 units of profit. So cannot complain whatsoever. Hopefully, we keep the momentum going into this week on UFC Vegas 9. Just a couple announcements. I had a lot of people reach out to me saying, "How can I donate to you? How can I send you a tip and all that?" The best way is signing up on Patreon. I did create a new tier. I know a lot of people use my DFS stuff for betting purposes and betting purposes only. So now I created this betting tier so those people can still use the model and also get some betting content as well. If you do want to support me and if you do want to send me a donation, you might as well sign up for the betting package and get something out of it. It's $10 a month, so it's about $2.50 per card. You get access to my UFC statistical model, notice on all of my bets whenever I place them, my betting article, video breakdown for each bet, a Hail Mary parlay, and also access to my Discord. If you guys have not seen it yet, this is the model that I do use myself. I use this model a lot. It takes me a couple hours to get it done. Lots of info in here. I have to do it by hand. You got the fighter info, the striking stats, the grappling stats, the finish stats, the Vegas odds as well that I update throughout the week. Just a good tool to have, even if you're you just want to check out the numbers on a fight. If you're really close on a fight on 2 fighters and you can't decide, maybe the numbers will help you out. And I think it's always a good idea to look at those numbers, look at those finish stats, and just kind of see what's going on with the fighters from that standpoint. But I'll put the link in the description. It's pretty easy to sign up. A lot of you guys have already signed up. We have about 120 members on there. So come join the community. It's a really cool thing we're doing over there. Lots of cool people in the chat as well. But with that said, we are going to get into the video here. Before we get started, if you guys can leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, would appreciate that a ton. Almost to 6,000 subscribers, so thank you guys a lot for that. Could not do it without you guys, and 6,000 is a great milestone for me. Honestly, I never thought I would get this many subscribers that fast, so thank you guys for that. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to all the people that support me. But time to break down this card. So first fight of the night, I don't know if it's the first fight of the night, but we're going with it. I'm sure they're going to change it. They have been changing stuff last second as of late. But Brian Kelleher versus Kevin Natividad. And this is going to be a fun fight. I mean, watching tape on Natividad, he's kind of like a brawler. He gets hit a ton. He's left open to be hit. Natividad does have a 6.5-inch reach advantage. He has a 70.5-inch reach here compared to Kelleher's 64-inch reach. Natividad is 27 years old, 5'6", 9-1, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Kelleher is 34 years old, 5'6", like I said, a 64-inch reach, 21-11, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. He has that experience. Kelleher is very tough, so I think the brawl that he's probably going to get in, I think he'll be able to probably, be tough enough to hang in there and not get knocked out. I think Natividad's only path to victory would be maybe winning a decision or knocking out Kelleher. Kelleher's been knocked out one time in 32 fights. He's very, very durable. Usually when Kelleher loses, it's by submission. He has 6 losses by submission. I don't think Natividad's somebody who's going to really exploit that. I think, if anything, Kelleher can get a takedown and possibly submit Natividad. This could play out kind of close, especially if it stays on the feet, but I'm going to say that Kelleher gets down to Natividad and finds a submission. Kelleher is the way more tested fighter, and it's not even close, the way more dangerous fighter. I think he has, the better durability. Natividad has been knocked out in 9 seconds before. So give me Brian Kelleher, and just taking a look at the line here. Kelleher is minus 225, and Natividad is plus 185. I don't really know if I want to bet Kelleher as that big of a favorite. Usually when you want to bet him, it's when he's an underdog. That's usually when he surprises a lot of people. We saw against Azure, and it's someone we'll talk about whenever he knocked out Azure. Azure was a pretty sizable favorite in that fight, but probably going to stay away from a betting perspective, but maybe Kelleher could be a parlay piece. I don't know. Natividad doesn't seem like he's awful. I mean, I think he's pretty solid. But he is a brawler and he does get hit, and I think Kelleher is a tougher guy here. So give me Brian Kelleher. I'm gonna say second round submission there for Kelleher. All right, and getting into the next fight here. Speaking of Hunter Azure, the dude that Kelleher just knocked out, we got Hunter Azure versus Cole Smith. Azure is 28 years old, 5'8", 70.5-inch reach, 8-1, and 7-1, and 5-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. My bad. Cole Smith is 31 years old. He is 5'11" with a 67-inch reach, 7-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So both these guys are coming off their first loss. And pre-tape, I was actually very confident in Hunter Azure. I thought he had the wrestling advantage. I thought he had easily the striking advantage. But I don't know. I feel like this could play out kind of close. Cole Smith is someone who's going to try to grind you up against the cage. He's going to try to take you down. I don't necessarily see Smith being able to take down Azure. Azure has pretty good takedown defense and very solid get-ups, but maybe Smith is able to grind up Azure against the cage for minutes at a time. And Smith is pretty good at taking the back as well. He was able to take the back from Miles Johns twice. And I don't know. Cole Smith is a BJJ black belt as well. I'm going to go with Hunter Azure here. I think he has a significant advantage on the feet. I mean, he's taking a look at some of the striking stats. Like, Cole Smith lands 1.63 significant strikes per minute compared to Azure's 4.71. Smith is someone who wants to grind you. He's not going to try to go out there and strike with you. And I think if Azure's able to, keep off the cage, keep distance, keep the range, stuff the takedowns, I think he wins. And I don't know. I'm gonna pick him to win by 3rd round knockout. Smith, with his style of fighting, he kind of gassed out in the Johns fight. And Johns was really putting it on him, but Johns was not able to get him out of there. I'm going to say Azure gets him out of there late. And I know that Azure's cardio did not look great against Kelleher, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here because before that, his cardio looked fine against Katona. I don't think he has, as big of cardio issues as Smith, especially, with the style that Smith brings. He's going to get tired, especially, trying to get takedowns 24/7, trying to grind 24/7. I'm going to say Azure is going to be the fresher fighter going to that 3rd, and he's going to get a knockout. But maybe Smith does win that 1st round, but I do think Azure is going to take over those next 2 and get a finish in that late 3rd round there. So looking at the line here, Azure is the biggest favorite on the card, tied with Brian Kelleher at minus 225. There's not many big favorites on this card whatsoever, but Cole Smith is plus 185 there. And I think the line's about right. I think Azure has a significant striking advantage, and as long as he keeps us on the feet, he's going to win this fight. And next, we got a very fun fight that I'm looking forward to. Just want to remind you guys that I will be doing a live stream, as always, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's very, very important to tune into that stream for multiple reasons. One, we try to have fun. I try to answer as many questions as possible, and the weigh-ins are very important. There are a couple fights where I want to see the weigh-ins before I put some action on it, especially, the past couple months. Like, these weigh-ins have been extremely important. We've been getting great reads off these weigh-ins, so make sure you guys tune into there. But going back to this matchup, It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fight that probably ends very early. Marcos Rogerio de Lima, he is 35 years old. He is 6'1" with a 75-inch reach, 17-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Alexander Romanov, he is 29 years old. He is 6'2", 11-0, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Obviously, he's undefeated. Watching tape on Romanov was extremely fun. I mean, he's someone who is able to pick up 260-pound guys and just suplex them. I mean, this guy is absolutely insane. He has very, very good strength, very good takedowns, very good trips. And I think that's a recipe for disaster against someone in De Lima who has a 36% takedown defense. Yeah, you heard that right. So, I think it's a bad stylistic matchup for De Lima here. I think that Romanov is someone who doesn't really play around on the feet much. He goes out there and he knows what he wants to do, and he wants to get that takedown. And I like that about him. I do. He knows what he's good at, and that's what he does. So he has a 64% submission rate and a 36% knockout rate, and he's won 100% of his fights by finish, which is pretty exciting there. De Lima has lost by submission 4 times. He's never lost by knockout. But I don't know. I'm going to pick Romanov to win this fight. I don't really like betting on these UFC newcomers because sometimes they don't always look how they look on tape. But I'm going to go with him. I think he has a good stylistic matchup for right here with going against De Lima. I think he can get takedowns hopefully right away. I think he'll have no problem getting takedowns and doing some work on the ground, whether it's a ground and pound victory, even finding a submission as well. I think he could definitely wear out De Lima. And, as for Romanov's gas tank, I mean, he looked fine. I saw him go into the 3rd round before. I mean, he's a heavyweight, but he looked decent. I mean, he looked like he has a decent gas tank. I cannot really say the same for De Lima. I think De Lima's probably first round or bust. Maybe he clips him in that first round, but I just have Romanov going out there and pretty much getting a takedown clinic and hopefully winning with some ground and pound or even finding a submission. I'm going to go with Romanov by 2nd round finish. And it's going to be something that I'm really excited to see. This is he's an exciting fighter, to say the least. Next, we got a pretty fun fight here. Montana De La Rosa versus Viviana Araujo. And De La Rosa, she is 25 years old. She is 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. She's 11-5, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Viviana Araujo, she is 33 years old, 5'4", 68-inch reach, 8-2 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. I do want to get into some of the numbers here. So Araujo does land 4.51 significant strikes per minute with a 47% accuracy. She absorbs 5.20 significant strikes per minute with a 54% striking defense. Montana De La Rosa averages 2.3 significant strikes per minute, almost. So Araujo is landing about double more than De La Rosa. De La Rosa, she has a 33% striking accuracy, and she absorbs 2.8 significant strikes per minute with a 49% striking defense. As for the takedowns, just want to point out some things. Araujo has a 100% takedown defense, and De La Rosa has a 33% takedown accuracy, and she lands about 2.2 takedowns per 50 minutes. Araujo does land 2.57. As for the finish stats here, Araujo does have an 88% finish rate, and De La Rosa has a 75% finish rate, all that being by submission. Araujo has never been submitted. She's been knocked out once. De La Rosa has been knocked out and submitted once as well. Taking a look at the odds here, and I forgot to mention the Romanov and De Lima line. Romanov is a minus 120 favorite, and Lima is a plus 100 underdog. But Viviana Araujo is a minus 170, and Montana De La Rosa is plus 150. And I agree with that line there. I do like Araujo to win this fight. I think she's the better overall fighter. I think De La Rosa will have a hard time getting her down. And I think Araujo is really going to put it on her in the striking and have a big advantage there. It's just what kind of concerns me is Araujo does tend to slow down, and you cannot say the same against De La Rosa. De La Rosa will be there in the 3rd round, and if Araujo gasses out, I don't know, De La Rosa might be able to get it done in that 3rd round, or win that 3rd round. I see Araujo probably most likely winning the 1st round. It's going to come up to who wins that 2nd. I'm going to slightly lean Vivian here. It's just, I hope her cardio holds up. If not, it could be a very, very iffy fight. And of course, women's MMA, you never know. But I think she's the better overall fighter. I'm going to pick her to get it done here. I'm going to say Viviana Araujo wins by decision. Maybe she gets a finish, but I'm going to play it safe and pick her to win by decision there. All right, next we got, this should be a fun fight here. Bartosz Fabinski versus Andre Muniz. Fabinski, he is 34 years old, 6 foot, 75-inch reach, 15-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Muniz, he is 30 years old, he is 6 foot 1, 78-inch reach, 19-4 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So, man, this is kind of a tough fight. Fabinski's someone who is he goes out there and he tries to get takedowns. That's what he does. He doesn't try to go out there and strike. His main priority is those takedowns. He wants to take you down, grind you down. He averages 7.17 takedowns per 15 minutes. Muniz does have a 33% takedown defense. It is very safe to say that Fabinski is probably going to get Muniz down. He probably is. But the thing about Muniz is he's a very, very good BJJ black belt. I mean, he has a very good ground game, very good sweeps, very good submissions. And I don't know. I like Muniz in this fight. I see Fabinski maybe making a mistake on the mat. He's done it before in the Darren Stewart fight. Stewart actually almost submitted him, it looked like, a couple times. And if he did that against Muniz, I don't know. I think Muniz is going to submit him. So in 15 minutes, Muniz is probably going to be on his back for a good majority of that. And I feel like he can get a sweep, a reversal, or even find a submission sometime in those 15 minutes. I just think he's too high level on the mat for Fabinski. And Fabinski also slows down later in the fight as well. So I'm going to pick Muniz to win by submission. I don't know. I just don't think Fabinski is going to be able to, stay on the mat with a guy like Muniz and stay out of trouble for 15 minutes. Muniz really, really impressed me on the ground. So I'm going to go with Muniz. I'm going to pick him to win by second round submission there. It's a fight I'm really looking forward to. I see a lot of people split on it. I like both of these fighters, but give me Andre Muniz to win by submission there. Looking at the odds, Muniz is an underdog at plus 125, and Fabinski is a minus 145 favorite there. I mean, it's a close fight. If you think that Fabinski can stay out of trouble for 15 minutes, I don't know. But on the feet, you also got to give the advantage to Muniz there. So, I don't know. I just think Muniz has more paths to victory. If Fabinski doesn't want to take this to the ground and he wants to keep this on the feet, it's Muniz has the advantage there. If he takes it to the ground, Muniz, I think, has the advantage there. But you got to give the advantage to the wrestling, obviously, to Fabinski. But can he stay out of danger? I don't know. I think Muniz is going to catch him there. All right, and then getting into this next fight, and Jalen Turner versus Thiago Moises. Turner is 25 years old. He is 6'3", going to have a 6-inch height advantage, 75.5-inch reach. I know on Tapology it says 75.5. I saw other websites where it says 77. Basically he has a big reach. He's going to be the bigger guy in there. He's 9-5, and he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Thiago Moises, like I said, 25 years old, 5'9", 70.5-inch reach, which is going to be a 5.5-inch reach disadvantage. 13-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. I mean, what a good fight here. We have the classic striker versus grappler. I do want to get into some stats for this fight. The striking stats, like Jalen Turner lands 5.95 significant strikes per minute compared to Moises' 2.68, so more than double there. Turner has a 48% striking accuracy compared to Moises' 43. Let's take a look at the grappling stats here. Moises averages only 1.10 takedowns per 15 minutes, and he has a 28% takedown accuracy. And Jalen Turner does have a 76% takedown defense as well. So as for the finish stats here, Moises has finished 69% of his fights, or his wins. 46 come by submission, and Turner has finished all of his wins, 100%. 89% by knockout and 11% by submission. So the thing with Turner is, I think he's like low-key chinny. Like, this dude's been knocked out 3 times. Not a good look, but I don't really think Moises is the guy to exploit that chin. But what I'm getting at is I like this matchup for Turner. I really do. And I mean, looking at the line here, Turner is a plus 145 underdog. He was like plus 160 earlier in the week, and Moises is minus 165. So money is coming in on Turner, and for a good reason. When I saw the line at first, like, I thought it was way off. And then after doing tape, I still thought I was off. I mean, Moises is someone who landed one strike in his last fight against Michael Johnson, was able to get a sub early in that second round. And I don't know, I was impressed with Turner with what I saw. I mean, in the Matt Frevola fight, someone who's a pretty good wrestler in Matt Frevola, he did get him down a couple times, got him in some bad positions, was able to fight out of some submissions. And after those first couple takedowns, Turner was able to start, stuffing those takedowns. He has pretty solid takedown defense. No shame in getting taken down by a guy like Matt Frevola. I don't think Moises has the same takedown, same wrestling as a guy like Matt Frevola. I mean, I'm not too impressed with Moises' wrestling. I do think that Turner is improving each and every fight. He is a huge 155er here, and I just like him to win. So I don't necessarily see him finishing Moises, but I think he's going to win a decision here, just outlanding Moises, staying to the outside, stuffing the takedowns, landing the harder shots, landing more shots. Moises is very tough. He's very durable. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say Turner wins his first decision of his MMA career. And yeah, I mean, I don't agree with Turner being an underdog here. I think it should be closer to a pick'em 100%. Because if Moises gets Turner down, yeah, he can maybe submit him. But, I was impressed with what I saw with Turner on the mat. I don't think he's, a fish out of the water by any means. I think he can hang with Moises. I really do. Yeah, give me Turner. Give me Turner by decision there. All right, next we got the People's main event. The fight we have all been waiting for, and I don't like this guy. I don't like Michele Pereira. This dude continues to screw me. When he fought Roberts, I was ready to fade this dude. I thought he was absolutely awful. Just watching some of his tape, this dude fought a bunch of cans, a bunch of nobodies. He was fighting an 0-0 guy in 2018. Doing backflips, doing cartwheels inside the cage, and I was ready to fade him against Danny Roberts, so I picked Danny Roberts to get it done, and he went out there and knocked out Roberts in the first couple minutes, and I was like, okay, all right, maybe this guy is the real deal. Maybe he is. And then he came out against Tristan Connolly and was doing backflips in the first round. He gassed out in the first couple minutes and ended up losing to Connolly, which was an awful loss. I mean, I think Connolly was even coming up a weight class or something. Pereira looked like a whole weight class above him, bigger, and he gassed out, and Connolly was controlling him for minutes at a time. It was an ugly fight. And then he fought Diego Sanchez, and he looked good. He looked composed. Not much of the backflips or the cartwheels, not much of that, if any at all. I don't remember there being much of that. He looked good, and then all of a sudden there was an illegal knee. Diego ended up calling the fight off. He said he didn't want to fight anymore, and Diego got the win there. But shout out to Pereira. He looked good. As for Imadaev, he's 0-2 in the UFC, not losing to bad competition. Hot Chocolate Roberts, Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts, and Max Griffin. Of course, Pereira did beat Roberts there, but I mean, he didn't lose to bad competition. I thought he held his own in a lot of parts of that fight. Roberts did knock him out in that second round late. This is it's gonna be a fun fight. It really is. It's just this is not a UFC caliber fight by any means whatsoever, and it's on the main card of a UFC card, but it's gonna be fun. Hopefully there's some backflips too. Both these guys are crazy. I mean, Imadaev was flicking off Roberts in between rounds. He's a crazy guy. He's a crazy dude. Both these guys are. It's gonna be fun. As for the matchup goes, Pereira, he's 26 years old, 6'1", 73-inch reach, 23-11, 3-2, 23-11, and a lot of those losses, coming against some cans, honestly. And then Imadaev, and he's only 26 years old, and 34 fights. That's a lot. That is a lot of fights for only being 26. Imadaev, he's 25 years old, 6 foot, 76-inch reach, going to have a 3-inch reach advantage, 8-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Taking a look at the line, it probably should be a pick'em, and it pretty much is. Pereira is -115, and Imadaev is -105. This is such a tough fight to call. I'm gonna go with Pereira. I'm going to go with Pereira. I think he's probably the more durable guy. He's been knocked out, I think, once in 34 fights. Imadaev was knocked out once in 10 fights. If Pereira comes in here and he fights composed, I actually think he's a good fighter. I really do. I'm going to pick him to win by knockout. I'm going to say in the second round, I think he's starting to take this UFC stuff more serious. We can see a progression of him since his first UFC fight all the way to the Diego Sanchez fight where he fought a lot smarter and he did look good. I got to give him that. And honestly, not too impressed with Imadaev whatsoever. So give me Michele Pereira. This is not a fight you want to bet by any means. This is probably one of the biggest stay away fights of the year because you cannot trust this dude with your money whatsoever. Don't place a bet on this guy, but I do think he gets it done. I think he gets it done by knockout. It's kind of a fight I want to sit back and watch as a fan. Hopefully see some backflips. I think that'd be pretty fun. Getting into this next fight here, Ciara Eubanks versus Rosa, and this is a tough fight to call. Eubanks is 35 years old, getting up there in age. She is 5'4", 67-inch reach, but she's only 5-4. She's 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Rosa, she is 25 years old. She is 5'5" with a 67.5-inch reach, 13-3, and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Man, this is such a tough fight to call. So Rosa, what I don't like about her is she is very hittable. I mean, she absorbs 7 significant strikes per minute. And I think Eubanks is the more dangerous fighter. I think she's fought the better competition as well. Eubanks has never been finished. And Rosa has been submitted twice by submission. I believe Eubanks is a black belt in BJJ. Man, Eubanks did show me some improvement in her last fight. I know it was against Cheesecake Moras, but her cardio looked good, and that's what I was looking for. That's what a lot of people were picking Moras because of the cardio of Eubanks. It kind of failed against Pereira. She looked awful after that first round, but I think she's really been going and working on her cardio because she looked good all throughout the fight. And if she comes in here with some good cardio and she looks good on the scales, I don't know. I like her to win this fight. I think she's the more dangerous fighter, the more powerful fighter. I think she'll be able to take down Rosa, land some ground and pound. I think she throws the harder shots, and Rosa's very hittable. I mean, Rosa's going to have the output, but Eubanks is going to throw those harder shots. Maybe she hurts Rosa. If she gets her down, maybe she's able to control her, maybe even submit her. I don't know. I like Eubanks in this fight, and I know this is going to be an unpopular pick. I see pretty much everybody on Rosa, but I don't know. I like Eubanks to win this fight. I mean, I think Eubanks is going to get her down. As long as that cardio holds up, I think she's going to win a decision or even find a finish here. Not overly confident in it, but I don't know. I like her to win. I've checked out her Instagram. She looks like she's been doing some cardio, pictures and stuff of her running, looking in fantastic shape. And as long as she looks good on the scales, I like the pick of Eubanks. Not necessarily something I want to bet. We'll take a look at the line here. Rosa is -130 and Eubanks is +110, which kind of surprises me. I thought Rosa would probably be a bigger favorite. A lot of people kind of got off the Eubanks train after the Correa fight, but I don't know. Eubanks really looked good, cardio-wise against Moras in her last fight, and if her cardio holds up, I think she gets it done. So give me Ciara Eubanks to win. I'm going to say by decision there. I think she's going to get those first 2 rounds. I think Rosa could take over late, but I think it'll be over a little too late for Rosa there. And I don't think a finish is off the table as well for Ciara Eubanks. All right, next we got the co-main event. And, this is something I went over before, so not going to get too much into it. Alonzo Menifield versus Overeem. Menifield is 32 years old, 6 foot, 76-inch reach, 9-1, 4-0 in his last 5 fights. OSP. 37 years old, 6'3", 80-inch reach, going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. 24-14 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. We'll get into some of the numbers here. Menifield lands 3.75 significant strikes per minute, compared to OSP lands only 2.60. He's very low output there. Both these guys have pretty awful striking defenses. Menifield 40%, OSP 45%, both very hittable. OSP only lands 1.27 takedowns per 15 minutes. He has a 40% takedown accuracy, and Menifield has an 85% takedown defense. We'll hear it all week. A lot of people think that Menifield's going to lose this. He's first round or bust because he gassed out against Clark. I saw a lot of great things in that Clark fight. I saw him stuff like the first 8 takedowns of Devin Clark, who's a much better wrestler than OSP. And he has great takedown defense. He's very, very hard to take down. He did gas out after that first round, but talked a little bit about it, the last breakdown video, heard an interview, as soon as that fight was, the next day of that Clark fight, he went and he worked on his cardio, and he looked in phenomenal shape on the scales, unbelievable shape on the scales. And, Menifield, I think it was good for him to get that first loss on his record. Sometimes these undefeated guys, it's good for them to kind of get a loss and go back and see what you need to work on. Like Sean O'Malley just got his first loss of his career. I mean, him personally, he's not taking it well. He's making them excuses and all that. I'm saying he's still undefeated in his head. But a guy like Menifield, he took that loss and he learned from it. And that's the best thing you can do after a loss. Take something and learn from it. And I think that's what he did. And he worked on his cardio and he looks in fantastic shape. He said he lost some weight. And we can definitely see that on the scales. I saw a picture of him on Twitter, a couple days before that weigh-in. He looked fantastic. I don't think Menifield is first round knockout or bust. I think even if this gets out of the first round, he's still very, very live to win this fight. OSP is someone who tends to slow down as well. He doesn't have the best gas tank himself, and he's very low volume. He's hittable, and he seems like he gets dropped in a lot of his fights. And, Menifield hits like an absolute truck. I mean, this guy hits hard, and I don't think OSP's chin's going to hold up here. I'm gonna pick Menifield to win by first round knockout here. But even if he does get out of the first round, I think he's still live to get a finish outside the first round or even win a decision. I know a lot of people are going to disagree because of the recency bias of the Clark fight, but I mean, come on, you can improve things. You're allowed to go and work on things. You really are. I mean, if he gasses out, he gasses out. But I think he'll come in here with a better gas tank this time around. As for OSP, he had COVID. How's that going to affect him? How's it going to affect his gas tank, I don't know. I see a lot of people that were on OSP last time around, but this time around I don't really see many people on OSP. I see a lot of people saying it's pretty much a pass and they're not betting it. I see a lot more people betting Menifield. Maybe it is because OSP had that COVID, but I don't know. Hopefully the line comes in a little bit. Hopefully the people, the name value and people come in and bet OSP so I can get Menifield at a decent line. As for what it is right now, minus 130. I think last time I bet him at minus 120. I'd like to get that again, and I probably will end up betting it after the weigh-ins. And if that line comes down a little bit, if I can get it at minus 110, minus 115, that would be absolutely fantastic. So if you're on OSP, go ahead and bet him so I can get a better line on Menifield. I think Menifield gets it done, and honestly, I'm pretty confident in that. The only path to victory I see for OSP is submission, is him getting Menifield on the ground and submitting him. And I think that's a lot harder than people assume. OSP is not a great wrestler, and Menifield does have some pretty fantastic takedown defense. Was able to stuff 9 out of 10 takedowns from a good wrestler in Devin Clark. So give me Alonzo Menifield to win by knockout. Next, we got the main event of the evening, and man, another fight that is really tough to call. Overeem, he is 40 years old, 6'4", 80-inch reach, going to have a 3-inch reach advantage, 46-18, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Augusto Sakai, 29 years old, 6'3", 77-inch reach, 15-1-1, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. I don't know if I touched on the Menifield odds, but Menifield is minus 130 and OSP is plus 110. Overeem is minus 145 and Sakai is plus 125. Overeem was, I think, minus 175 earlier in the week there. So the money is coming in on Sakai, and I can see why, but I figured a lot more, name value would be on Overeem and people would bet him. So maybe that line gets a little bit wider as the fight goes on. As for how the fight plays out, it's always tough predicting Overeem fights because of that chin. Let's just be honest. He's lost by knockout 13 times. That has to be some type of record. 13 knockout losses. That is absolutely insane. We saw him in the Walt Harris fight almost get knocked out. The ref very well could have stopped that fight. Came back and got the victory there, but Walt Harris gassed out. I think Overeem's the better fighter. I really do. Even at 40 years old, I do think he has more to offer, but it's just the chin. It's the chin that is leading me to pick Augusto Sakai here. And this honestly should probably be a pick 'em because it's basically, is Overeem's chin gonna hold up or is it not? Like, and I don't know. Sakai is not that big of a power puncher, but he does hit, pretty hard. 73% knockout rate by Sakai. As one loss is by decision there. But like I said, Overeem's been knocked out like 13 times. I don't know. I think that Sakai is going to catch him at some point. I guess what I would be worried about if I did place a bet on Sakai would be Overeem taking down Sakai and grinding him out. I think Overeem has the better cardio. If he can extend this fight, maybe he's able to survive the first couple rounds. I do think he can take over. I guess we'll get into some of the stats here. Overeem averages only 1.4 takedowns. He does have a 54% takedown accuracy, though. Sakai has an 83% takedown defense. He has a pretty solid takedown defense. It looks like he's tough to take him down. Don't know if Overeem's going to be able to take him down and really hold him down. But, man, this is a tough fight. I'm going to go with Sakai. It's basically a fade on Overeem's chin, which is not an awful look at this point in his career. I mean, man, it seems like just, anything knocks out this guy at this point. I mean, he was winning that Rosenstruck fight, and the last couple seconds Rosenstruck was able to knock him out. Man, tough fight. But give me Sakai. I'm going to pick him to win by knockout here. If anything, maybe bet Sakai inside the distance. I'm not sure if he'll be able to win a decision against Overeem, and don't really see this lasting 5 rounds. And I was checking Sakai's Instagram, and he looks in great shape. It looks like he had a great camp, has been putting in some work, and, we'll see him on the scales, and that's why it's important to tune into that Friday live stream. But, Sakai, he looks good on Instagram, but we're definitely going to find out how good he looks on the scales there. But, man, it's going to be a good fight. I know a lot of people are going to go with Overeem here, but I'm going to go with Sakai. Just a fade on Overeem's chin, and like I said, it's really not a bad look at this point in Overeem's career. That's all I got for you guys. Remember, you guys can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Also on Instagram, DFS by the numbers. You guys can also sign up on Patreon. We talked about it at the beginning of the video. I'll always be posting my bets for free as well. Come Saturday, come fight time. But if you want the early content or some extra content, or even to support me a little bit more, you guys can sign up on Patreon, and I'll always be doing my live streams, going over bets there, and then, of course, my betting breakdown on Saturday. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and hit that like button. It really helps a ton, and also subscribe if you haven't yet. Would really appreciate that. And, good luck, guys.